What's up, dudes? We're gonna start this video off with some statistics because I think it'll be an eye-opener. So, 70% of Americans are classified as either overweight or obese, with 40% of Americans leaning into the obese category, okay? That's just number one. Number two, 50% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved into their bank account, which is absolutely insane. And that doesn't even take into account debt. So I heard that the average credit card debt is $6,500, which is insane. Lastly, 50% of Americans experience mild depression, which isn't that sad? 50% have mild depression. What kind of lives are we living? Either way, that we'll come back to this. Just keep these in the back of your mind. The main point of this video is that when you go throughout your life, as you're growing in your teenage years and you go throughout your 20s, there's going to be an endless amount of not only people in real life, but also people online and society as a whole. There's going to be a bunch of people who have an opinion on how you live your life. And it's important to remember that none of these people and none of their opinions genuinely affect the way you decide to live. And it's important to be able to have a mind that is able to filter through all of these opinions and still live a life authentic to you. Because there is a gazillion different paths you can take. So there's going to be people who say that you should become a tradesman and you should become a plumber or whatever. There's going to be people who say, oh no, you should go to college, you should become a doctor or a lawyer, whatever. There's going to be people who say to not do any of that, you know what I mean? So there's going to be 1,000 different opinions that you encounter while you are growing up and trying to navigate life. And you need to have this level of fortitude inside of your brain where you're able to intake these opinions, intake the societal pressures and expectations, and be able to filter them out of you and not get consumed by them. Because a lot of people, they just do whatever their parents and society expected them to do and don't actually think through the decisions they are making. Because a lot of these decisions are lifelong commitments and they don't sound like it, right? College, it's 4 years. It doesn't sound like a lifelong commitment. Oh, it's only 4 years, if I wasted it, who cares, whatever. The thing is though, after you go through those 4 years of college, the pressure that you now feel to actually go inside of whatever you got your degree for is so high that you are 99% bound to doing whatever you went to college for. Because you just spent 4 years and you spent a bunch of money. It'd be crazy to not go into that now. And so when we are 18 years old, a lot of people are almost deciding their fate for the rest of their life. They almost decide their fate right there. Because the longer you're in something, it's harder to muster up the freaking balls needed to quit that path and go do something completely different. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of people who are worth listening to. And it's up to you to decide in your brain logically if someone is worth listening to. There's people around you who are literally tens of $1,000s in debt, people who literally are depressed, people who are literally fat, and they're trying to tell you how to live your life, what you should do, what path to go down. You should go to college, do this, do this. Literally, there's people who are depressed trying to tell you how to live your life. Dude, you're depressed. Why would I listen to you? You know what I mean? So it's important to remember and keep in mind where that person is coming from with their advice. And now they might be giving you advice in a way where they're saying, hey, I did this and I have no money, or I'm depressed. And so I'm giving you this advice to hopefully help you so you don't make the same mistakes I did. But there's an issue there because a lot of the time they don't know if the other path that they didn't take will actually lead to these things that they don't have. They don't know if it'll actually lead to financial stability or if it'll lead to a happy life or not being fat. You know what I mean? Because they haven't actually achieved it themselves. And so the rule that I've set for myself is when someone's giving me their opinion on how I should live my life, on what I should do, I just think about and ask myself if they have the goal that I'm going for? Not only that, do they have the result that I want? So let's say there's a guy and he has the perfect physique, like perfect physique. And he comes up to me in the gym and he tells me, hey dude, you're doing bench press wrong. I'm going to be like, oh my God, maybe I am doing bench press wrong because he has the physique I want. Or let's say I'm broke as fuck and some guy comes up to me with $1 billion, right? And he tells me, oh, don't do that, you need to do this instead. Of course I'm gonna listen to him. He has $1 billion. I'm not an idiot. I'm not the smartest person in the world. This guy is worth listening to. He has $1 billion. And so the way that I filter it out is I only listen to people who have the result that I want. And so thanks to things like YouTube and other social media platforms, there's a bunch of people who make a bunch of educational content on how to get anything you want. There's literally thousands of videos online on how to get a great physique. There's 1,000 videos on how to make money online. There's 1,000 videos on mental health and how to be happy. And so literally the information is so abundant. You can find people online to listen to that have the result that you want, and you will literally take the steps to get closer to that. It's not people who are depressed saying, oh no, do this path instead and you won't be depressed. Bro, no one's gonna listen to the guy who's depressed trying to tell you how to be happy. You know what I mean? Just no one's gonna. But there's literally people online who have great mental health. There's people online who have a lot of money. There's people online who have a lot of muscle. They have a great physique. And they're spitting advice online, giving you all the information you need to achieve these things. So one of the things I use is when I'm reconsidering something I'm doing in my life, I'll think about the people that I look up to. Maybe that could be a mentor in real life. That could be people online or educational content creators, whatever. I think about the people I look up to and I think, would they approve of my decision? The people who have the goals that the result of the goals that I want. Would they approve of this decision? Would they approve of this path that I'm going down? And if they would, then I stop thinking about it and I just go with it. And I ignore whatever person or video or whatever that tried to make me change my mind. And that's helped me a lot, because there's going to be, as you go throughout your life, there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of opinions. And it takes some balls to be able to sit there and be like, fuck all that. I ain't doing any of that. And I'm going to do whatever I want. But it's one of the most important things you could do, because it literally decides your fate in your life. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.